Welcome to the vlog. This is the first one of the year. For today, we've got this kind of problem with releasing my first track. The album that went on to Spotify is misattributed to the wrong. Resolve that with my distributor. Shouldn't be too much of a mess. They've already gotten back to me about it, so should have that resolved. We're gonna go through how to plan a DJ set for a North American club audience. That's up to you in a bit. Alright, so now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, we're going to go over my 5 major tips for planning your set, making your set for North American club gigs. A lot of the club tutorials or DJs I've seen online have been really good if you're playing like a European crowd, or I'm sure in the United States there's a bunch of clubs that are more like underground because of the big populations of places like LA, so you're able to play a bunch of deep house, but want to. In fact, it's even that way in Toronto. But I know in Vancouver, EDM is still kind of transitioning into the norm. Most people really like trap music and hip hop. That's what's mainstream, as well as kind of the modern 2010s. So we're going to talk about how you can be a DJ who's more into EDM or house music and still stay true to yourself and pick good gigs. So my first piece of advice is to plan. You should genres of music that you're comfortable playing. For me, it's house, trap, and kind of the 2010s pop, dancehall type of stuff at about 100 BPM, like Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, Mienti, all that kind of stuff. And that kind of music, even though I mostly produce house music and that's kind of where my base is, I'll still play trap and I'll still play that dancehall stuff. Other ones that are good for American audiences are hip-hop, obviously, that kind of slower, not trap music, dubstep occasionally for playing a later set. For the beginning of the night, typically more house, more chilled out music, like that kind of chilled out pop music is good to get people going, because they need music that they really resonate with, they really recognize, in order to get them going. Another big part of planning your mixes should be having a couple of key transitions that you're super comfortable with. I would also recommend for the few gigs that you do that you pretty much have the whole set planned out, that you don't try to be too flexible, because you might get nervous, might get some kind of stage fright, people's reactions. But if you just have a plan, just stick to it for the first while. Once you've gotten past, then you can start opening up. So at that point, have some key transitions. For me, my go-to is Shami's remix of Go Deep. I always nail the transition from that into Dombresky's Utopia, and even pretty much song I can transition into that remix of Go Deep. Like, I know that track so well. It fits perfectly with so many other house tracks, that transition from song to Go Deep to Utopia, the next song, super easy for me. Songs like the back of my hand. So have a couple key transitions like that. If you can, it would be great to have them from genre to genre. All right, tip number 2 is to be flexible and open-minded. You won't only be genre. Maybe if you're opening or closing the end of the night, you can be more creative because there's not a lot of people there. That's what I did my first couple gigs. I just played like strictly G house the entire time, no tempo transitions, just a bunch of obscure confessions, because that's what I listened to, that's what I liked. So that's all I played. No one was really in the club, so it didn't really matter. It was just background music as people were getting drinks at the bar. But now I've opened up, so I play not just a lot of different house genres, but also trap, going into dance hall, to make sure that I'm pleasing a lot of different kinds of people in the crowd, since I'm not playing at a club that's just a single genre. My third piece of advice is not to take bad gigs or gigs that you don't do. So this might kind of contradict the last one of being open-minded, but for instance, if you really hate dubstep and your friends hosting a dubstep competition or a dubstep event and you don't want to play it, I've been offered gigs at hip hop clubs that are mostly scratch DJs. They need someone to open, and they asked me to open that kind of gig with like 100 hip hop, and I don't listen to that kind of music. I'm not comfortable doing those gigs. So fourth rule is the 1/2 to 2/3 rule, or being accessible. So this rule is basically the amount of music that you play that should be known by the vast majority of the audience. I always try to aim at above 1/2. About half of the music I'm playing, everyone should know, right? So if you drop Me Auntie, if you drop New Rules by Dua Lipa, something like that, everyone will know it. And it doesn't mean that they have to know that particular version that you're playing. You can play remixes and mashups. That's why I really love playing mashups. The EDM crowd there will know the instrumental going on, and then the mainstream people will know the vocal going on and will sing along. And it's just this beautiful marriage where everyone's enjoying themselves, everyone's having a great time. Remixes that kind of throw people off because they've never heard that instrumental before. This way it can be a popular instrumental and still have a popular vocal. So my go-to for this is I mashed up Dua Lipa's New Rules with Oliver Heldens. That is a very accessible song because all the EDM heads there will know Gecko, and all of the mainstream crowd will know New Rules by Dua Lipa. And then some of them will know both. And that's like the perfect thing to happen. So for instance, tonight, about 21 of the 37 songs I have prepped fit that rule. So it's above half. I won't play all 37 of those, but I'll definitely play all 21 of those known tracks. Fifth rule is to get creative with the well-known. So again, it's okay to play remixes and stuff. In fact, it's encouraged because a lot of times modern pop music isn't that dancey. I've noticed, especially with kind of the modern hip hop that's popular in Canada, a lot of it. So find mashups, find interesting remixes that bring up the energy a bit more so that it's appropriate for the club. I've especially found that future house remixes of pop songs do really well. So I have a future house remix of Havana in my set. I'm really excited to play. I think it'll go over really well. So those are the 5 rules to planning your set in a North American city. And basically next for us, we're going to see if it's true and see if it works out. Yeah, I'll see you tonight at the gig.